Hello everyone, today I will be presenting a brief summary of the research completed by myself, Tejas Gill, with the guidance provided by my supervisors, Maryam, Elahi, and Peter Zizler, on the education inequality within different subpopulations of Canada. It is important to note that although large amounts of raw data entailing Canadians and their education attainment is available, there is a lack of research investigating education inequality in Canada. As such, the purpose of this research is to investigate education inequality in Canada and determine the correlation between increased discrepancies in education and the characteristics of certain subpopulations. Results of this research showcase that education inequality in Canada is considerably lower in comparison to other developed nations. This brings into question what Canada's high education inequality means for Canadians, and this will be discussed later on in this presentation. To begin, Figure 1 on the poster illustrates the percent of the Canadian population over the age of 25 holding certain years of education. This information was used to determine the Gini coefficient for that specific subpopulation, which is a measure based on the difference between the ideal society with perfect equality and the situation being analyzed. Specifically, the raw data is analyzed to develop a Lorenz curve, which depicts the percentage of the total education held by certain portions of the subpopulation being analyzed. Based on this data, a curve depicted in Figure 2 was created, which compared a society modeling perfect equality to the one being analyzed. The Gini coefficient was calculated by determining the ratio of the area enclosed by the two curves to the area below the line of perfect equality. As such, a higher Gini index represents more inequality, whereas a lower Gini index represents less inequality. To provide a brief understanding of what the Gini index represents, we can use an example of a society where height is being analyzed. The Gini coefficient, otherwise known as the Gini index, would represent the percent by which the height of a randomly chosen individual in that society would vary from the average. Moreover, the Gini mean difference is the expected distance by which two randomly chosen individuals in that society would vary in height. To build further, one of the main reasons that the Gini index was used in our research to evaluate education equality is because of the measure's focus on discrepancies between situations. This can be illustrated by the representation of the Gini index of two different subpopulations that have the same difference in wealth but varying levels of inequality. Moreover, consider the following scenarios. The first is one in which 50% of the population holds $1 of wealth, while the remaining holds $3 of wealth. Compare this to a society in which 50% holds $9,999 of wealth, while the remaining 50% holds $10,001 of wealth. Although both these scenarios would have the same Gini mean difference, the Gini index accounts for the significant difference in equality between the scenarios. It is important to note, however, that average education attainment was also measured in our research to ensure that focus on inequality didn't neglect the conclusions based on the average education attainment of the subpopulations. Results of this research are as shown in Figure 3, which depicts both the average years of education held by each subpopulation, as well as their respective Gini coefficients. It was determined that minimal variations exist in the Gini coefficient and average years of education across all subpopulations of Canada. To conclude, the findings of this study can be evaluated in terms of several other studies investigating education inequality in different countries with varying characteristics. With regard to such studies, the consistency in the high education equality across all subpopulations of Canada may play an influential role in the success of Canada as a multicultural nation. As a final note, this research was only possible thanks to the work of Maryam, Elahi, and Peter Zizler alongside the raw data provided by Stats Canada and the Government of Alberta. I'd also like to express my gratitude to all the universities who went out of their way to support and host this research convention, as well as all the viewers who are taking the time to work through technical difficulties to view this research convention. Thank you.